Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also in partnership with the Indiana High School Athletic Association. Coming to you from the State Champs Sports Network studios, my name is Lauren Plant, and welcome to State Champs Hangtime, Indiana. This is your spot to get some great boys basketball highlights in the great state of Indiana. We share some stories and give you some terrific analysis on how the season is progressing. We are just over 2 weeks away from sectionals. In the meantime, teams are grinding through the regular season stretch and stepping away from IHSAA competition. The homeschool league is formidable in Indiana. We profile one player who just hit a big milestone. Greg Rakestraw going solo this week. He'll be along in just a bit to fill you in on so much going on right now in boys hoops. But first, highlights. Let's roll.
I'm Kevin Trozinski, and we start things off with a matchup from last Thursday. The 11-5 Trojans from East Central hosted the 8-7 Lawrenceburg Tigers. The Tigers would kick things off this night. Galvin Yoon draws the attention and kicks out to Mitchell McCool, and he'll drain the long ball. Trojans with the reply a little later. Good ball movement, and Logan Robacher finds A.J. Messmore from distance. After the first, East Central was up by 16-15. In the second, Trojans defense gonna step it up. Trevor Becker gonna get the steal, and Messmore will finish it off with a long gun. The Tigers would not back down though. Braden Watkins gets the ball, and check out Garrett Yoon off the nice cut and gets the strong feed and finishes at the rack. In the third, the Trojans will get a great pass of their own. Becker gonna go behind his back to John Hotel, and he'll get it done. And the cherry on top in the fourth, Becker with the steal and the slam. As the Trojans go on to win this one over Lawrenceburg, 65-54 your final score.
I'm Glenn Marini from the Fort Wayne area. Huge matchup as Summit Athletic Conference leader Snyder at 2-8 number 2 ranked Blackhawk Christian. Second quarter, that's Callan Wood. It was good, 3 of his 11. The Braves up by 15 in the second quarter. Could Snyder make this a game? Isaac Farnsworth says, yeah, a little dipsy-do. 2 of his 10 there. Blackhawk right back, though, 6'9" Caleb First, a top 50 recruit nationally in the class of 2021. He had 16 on the game as Blackhawk led 39-22 at the half. Third quarter, Michael Ely, the junior, the Panther with the pilfer and the punch. He led everybody with 30 points, but it would not be enough thanks to Marcus Davidson, one of his 4 triples there. You're going to see Davidson do it again from deep. He led Blackhawk with 23 points. Zane Burke added 21 as Blackhawk Christian beats Snyder 76-58. At Don Riker Gymnasium, Fonzo White and the Bishop Luers Knights coming in 10-5. Southside looking for the upset. Late second quarter, Nayland Thompson nails the basket. He had 11, but Luers down 28-21 at the half. Third quarter, Knights making a run. Off the miss, Luers pushing it. DeMarcus Hudson led everybody with 20 points, and the Knights now up by 1. Southside, though, they get the lead back. DeJuan Parker inside with 2 of his 11. The Archers up 35-34 at that point. And then it's the senior, Cameron Mitchell, with 2 of his team-high 16 as Southside with the upset over Bishop Luers 56-51. At Wayne High School, Homestead looking to snap a rare 3-game losing streak. The Generals, meanwhile, they had lost 4 in a row. First quarter, Jake Archbold going to play football at Grand Valley State. He can play hoops as well. He had the 3 there, but Wayne right back. It's Quincy Miles all the way to the cup, and you can bet Wayne coach Byron Pickens like that. Then it's Wayne's 6'6" senior Jaquan Kaiser stepping up from behind the arc. That would tie it up early in the first quarter. Meanwhile, Luke Goody, the junior, has offers from Illinois, Maryland, and Iowa. 2 of his team-high 22 points coming right there. And then senior Alec Grinsfelter for Homestead, 2 of his 12. Grant Simmons and Andrew Leeper each had 10 for the balanced Spartans as Homestead a winner on the road, 62-40 over Wayne.
About a year ago, State Champs went inside the world of homeschool basketball and just how the league is growing nationally, but also how good some of the Indiana teams are. One such player just hit a big number. Glenn Marini has the story.
From a torn Achilles
I did it the regional tournament down in Indy. I got a rebound and turned around for a fast break, and it just gave out.
Had to completely reconstruct him, you know, from below the heel all the way up to his calf. He had to teach himself how to walk again.
I heard a snap. It was honestly pretty frightening.
To hitting the 3,000-point milestone this season.
We've had some 1,000-point scorers, but 3,000 points is amazing. Him starting in 8th grade and then just putting up huge numbers in 9th, 10th, 11th, and now this year in 12th. It's amazing.
Emotions are running high just thinking of every play throughout my high school career.
Benton Bucks senior Jake Locke experiencing the highs and lows of homeschool basketball during high school.
He worked harder after the injury to get back and knew that he wanted to finish strong. And so I think that's why it's great to see him rewarded with 3,000 points.
I give all the glory to God and everything my parents and my teammates and coaches have done for me, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Locke, a senior this year, hasn't finalized plans for basketball post-graduation yet. He's keeping his options open, but it's no question how the sport has impacted his life.
Just having somewhere to go to, like when I don't have anything going on, like basketball is my first love, and I don't know where I'd be without it. Beyond his time in high school, this game and these moments having a lasting effect on Locke as he plans to study physical therapy in college. In Syracuse, Indiana, Glenn Marini for State Champs.
Hi, this is Greg Rakestraw, and, well, there's no Bob Stambazzi today. It's just me, so flying solo. So our recaps will be a little bit shorter on the program today. That's more work for Lauren and the boys on the program. Sorry about that, guys. But a couple of games that I want to focus on as far as the games that have happened over the course of the last week. First of all, let's talk about Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian. They're a team we have frequently discussed on the program this year. Again, one of the best teams in the state of Indiana, regardless of classification. I think they're the clear favorite in Class 2A just because there's other great teams in Class 2A. Teams like Shenandoah, Linton, Stockton, as well as South Decatur, which are all in the southern half of the bracket. But I'm not sure any of those teams have the size to match up with a young man like Caleb First. Very impressed by what I saw from Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian, not just last night, but even in a defeat on Saturday. So they were part of Basketball Day in Indiana, were the Braves, and they lost to Indianapolis Athletics, who is playing some fantastic basketball as of late. 71-57, Blackhawk lost that contest. Just their third loss of the season. Other two losses to 3A and 4A competition, #1 team in 3A in Silver Creek, and one loss within the city limits of Fort Wayne. That would be to Homestead. Again, another team that's had a really good season in Fort Wayne. It's been a good year for basketball in Fort Wayne. We'll see if that carries on into the postseason, say other than Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian. Well, Blackhawk bounced back and beat a big and physical Snyder team on Tuesday by a score of 76-58. Coach Davidson and his crew have put together a really solid team, and this is a Blackhawk team that they're going to make a deep run. And again, I get the feeling they're going to be cutting down the nets for a second time at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Now, the other game that I wanted to discuss this week is Carmel and Lawrence North. That's the game that I had the pleasure of calling on the ISC Sports Network and MyNDTV on Thursday. And the final score seemingly has caused a bit of conjecture around the state of Indiana. The final score was 39-37. Had a producer, in fact, told me, I'm not sure we're going to talk about this game because, well, it was a low-scoring game. There was not that many highlights. People on social media, how could you have a 39-37 game? Well, clearly, you're not familiar with how Carmel plays basketball. This is how Carmel has played for the last several years. It has what has led them to the last 2 state championships. It is what has led them to 3 state championships now in the last 9 seasons. And this is a team that is a top 10 team, even after suffering a home loss to Lawrence North last Thursday, because of how they guard people. In Carmel's last 5 games, no one has scored 40 points. And it's not like they're sitting there by the half-court line just putting the basketball on their hip and kind of staring at the shot clock, checking their messages on social media. No, they make you have long possessions because of how hard they guard you defensively and because they'll keep running through their system until they get a good look on offense. Teams try to speed them up. It's simply not going to happen. So I'm singing the praise of the team that got beat by 2, let me sing the praises of the team that beat them in Lawrence North. Number 2 in the state and just one loss this year against North Central back on January the 24th. It's an LN team that I have seen play a full court style and win. I've never seen so many dunks in a half-court setting as they had when they beat Lawrence Central the first time around on December the 11th. But the game on Thursday at Carmel played out like a postseason game where every possession was valuable, and LN still won that game. So if there were 2 results or 2 games that got my attention statewide this week, Blackhawk bouncing back after an Attucks loss, and Carmel and LN playing what looked like a postseason game. Our preview comes up in a matter of moments.
What's up, Indiana? Jenna Skelski here. Just letting you know that State Champs is committed to covering all high school sports. We have a brand new show dedicated to the girls' side of the hoops equation, as well as highlights in other sports such as swimming and wrestling. We call it the State Champs Winter Roundup, and it premieres every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Be sure to download our brand new State Champs app and check out our socials so you will never miss a minute.
I admit it, I love working with money, negotiating, and making big decisions. That's why I'm majoring in finance and economics at Lawrence Tech. What's truly amazing about the education here is the small class sizes that give me easy access to my professors who truly care about my future. They even helped me get a great internship. And I was able to fulfill my lifelong dream of playing college golf. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
All right, guys, lots more show to go, including this batch of highlights. Check it out.
I'm Chuck Pellerito, and we head over to Hamilton Heights, where the 12-5 Huskies hosted the 10-8 Frankton Eagles. The Huskies in white start us off here. Gus Etchison with a hook pass all the way over to Hudson Hochstedler. The shooter's touch gets it to fall. The Eagles would keep pace, though. Luke Schuer draws some attention, and Jacob Davenport comes open under the net. After the first, Frankton trailed by 3. The Huskies would open it up in the second. Etchison drives the lane, kicks out to Cameron Knott. He's open in the corner for 3, and at the break, Hamilton Heights was up 36-23. The Eagles would start to cut into the deficit in the third. Luke Carroll gonna grab the board, and Hochstedler and Rich Espinoza gonna drop it in. Time running out in the fourth. Frankton working the perimeter and the clock. Hochstedler gonna get open in the lane. Brett Pennington finds him, and we are heading into overtime tied at 51. The Huskies offense was stalled in OT, only getting 5 points. The Eagles' Pennington is left open for 3, and Frankton goes on to win this one over Hamilton Heights, 64-56, our final.
Kevin back with you, and we go to a Tuesday night matchup. The Pumas from Indianapolis Metro came in riding a 4-game win streak. They look to keep it going as they travel to take on the Trojans of Bishop Chatard. Chatard trying to snap a 3-game skid, getting it going early. Carter St. John left all alone in the corner, and he had 3 threes in this quarter, and that will get the Trojans up early. But the Pumas would answer back. Charles Hunter drawing everybody to the paint. The kick out, and Derek Anderson gonna get the splash. After the first, Chatard led 17-8. The Trojans would keep it going from the outside. Elliot Colbus gets a little pick from Ed Reese Redmond for some space, and that's all he would need. And everybody is going to get in on the 3 parade. Sam Ricci adds his name to the long list of deep balls in this quarter alone. And at the half, the Trojans were up big, 35-18. But the Pumas would not back down. Antonio Belton gets the ball in the paint, the power dribble gets the bucket, and the old-fashioned 3-point play. Still in the third, sometimes the ball just bounces your way. Pumas miss the shot, but it gets knocked back out to a wide-open Javon Hill for his first points on the night. And after 3, Pumas trailed 36-49. But it would be too much Chatard on this night. St. John's brings down the board all the way up to Edmond, and he'll finish it at the rack. As Bishop Chatard ends their skid and moves to 12-6, beating Indy Metropolitan 64-55, your final score.
I'm John Rawlings from the Evansville area. 12th ranked Bosse has won 8 of their last 9. They traveled to North to take on a Husky squad that has won their last 3. First quarter, Kieran Powell stroking one down, and these teams traded punches early. Moments later, Chandler Moore letting one fly from downtown. He leads the team with 20. Bosse responds with Colton Sanford, the senior, getting the teardrop, the fall, and the foul. We're knotted up early. It's a dogfight throughout, and Dylan McKinney's triple try rings true. North pulls off the upset. Huskies win 64-61. Staying in the SIAC, Central is looking for their first conference win. The Bears facing Castle. Picking things up in the second quarter, Knights cleaning up on the glass. Lewis Brock grabs the board, then takes care of business down low. It's a 13-point Castle lead at the break. Third quarter, the Bears come out swinging. Henry Brown to Andrew Windle for the 3-ball. It's a 4-point game, but the Knights would not crack. Jackson Mitchell finds Isaiah Swope on the break for the finish. Castle wins 69-63. And we end with a PAC Big 8 battle, Boonville hosting Gibson Southern. Early going, Hunter Bruce fires inside to Nick Smith. The big man finishes in traffic. Boonville draws first blood. Gibson Southern swings right back though. Braden Malone takes it to the paint and drops the runner. We're all tied up. Just before the end of the quarter, Titans hustling. Mitchell Spindler makes one save. Drew Foster another, and eventually Malone caps it off just like they drew it up. This one goes down to the wire. Titans on top 37-36.
Hey guys, this message is for those of you who just might consider nursing as a career. Nursing School's Almanac ranks more than 3,000 nursing programs nationwide, and in only its third year, Lawrence Technological University's Bachelor of Science in Nursing program has been ranked in the top third of Michigan nursing education programs, even before the program has graduated its first students. Lawrence Tech began accepting students into its BSN program in August 2017. The program is a partnership with the healthcare nonprofit Ascension Michigan and its 6 hospitals in Southeast Michigan. The first students will graduate its first nurses in May 2021. The program combines hospital-based clinical rotations, skills laboratories, and a focus on combining nursing theory with practice. The partnership also offers job placement opportunities since Ascension Michigan is focused on keeping nurses in-state and helping them advance their careers. Check it all out at ltu.edu.
Once again, welcome back on State Champs Indiana Hangtime. Greg Rakestraw flying solo. Bob Stambazzi will be back a week from now. We say this every week. This is another great slate of games for us to talk about across the state of Indiana. So, without further ado, here's the games you should be watching for this weekend. Let's start with 4A number 1, unbeaten Bloomington South. What a win they had a couple of weeks ago. Anthony Leal's 3 at the buzzer to beat 3A number 1 Silver Creek. They will get their best test against a team in their own sectional coming up on Friday night when they take on Columbus North. It's a Columbus North program that only has one sectional title in the last decade. That was back in 2013. And they know they've got a hill to climb in Bloomington South, but this game is at Columbus North. The Bulldogs are 15-3. Again, Bloomington South, I think, is the better team. Columbus North is kind of on the fringe of the top 10. They've got some young talent on that Columbus North side. This may be their sectional a year from now, but a chance to really gauge where they are and see how do they match up with the best team in the rankings in the state. Clearly the best team in that sectional, and I think the best team in their regional as well, being Bloomington South. So Bloomington South at Columbus North, huge game in Conference Indiana. That takes place coming up on Friday night. Next up, this is a game with statewide ramifications, and this could have been the 3A state championship game last year because they were both playing in 3A. Crispus Attucks at number 6 in the state, and they had a really good win against Gary 21st Century on Tuesday night. We'll talk more about Gary 21st Century coming up in a matter of moments. But Crispus Attucks plays host to Culver Academy. And Culver Academy, after dropping out of the polls when Trey Galloway was injured in early December, they have now climbed back into the polls. Culver has lost 4 times this year, but all of those came when Galloway was out of the lineup. This is a starting lineup that has 3 Division I athletes. Galloway will play at IU. Nick Kittle's going to play at Indiana State. And Deontay Craig is a football player at the University of Iowa a year from now. Again, this is one of the best teams in the state, and they play a very similar style to Carmel. They're going to lock you up defensively. They're not going to score a ton of points, but more often than not, they score more points than you do. So if styles make fights, you've got the all-out attack of Crispus Attucks, all 84 feet on the floor against Culver that wants to play in a half-court game. This is a great statewide match of interest. This game in downtown Indianapolis, and it takes place on Saturday night. Now, Gary 21st Century going to make a frequent path to Indianapolis this week. They played at Attucks on Tuesday night. They're playing at Cathedral on Saturday. Attucks and Cathedral had a classic in the city championship game about 3 weeks ago with a double overtime win going to Attucks. Well, Gary 21st Century, number 3 in 1A, they were beaten by Attucks 104-99 in their game on Tuesday. they will face an equally as good of a team that doesn't mind getting up and down the floor in Cathedral. They like to play a little more half-court basketball than they saw from Attucks, but yet again, a great test for the team that, along with Central Catholic, has to be considered the favorites in the North in 1A in Gary's 21st Century. And their top player, of course, is John L. Davis, an Indiana All-Star candidate, no doubt about it. So, twice in 1 week, playing, say, 2 of the top 15 teams in 4A in the state of Indiana. That's what 21st Century is doing this week. Elsewhere in 3A, Brebeuf is at Danville. Todd Howard's Brebeuf Jesuit team has been outside the top 10, just outside of it, receiving votes for a good chunk of the year. Danville has just 2 losses, both to Plainfield, who's got 14 wins in 4A this year. Those guys have played in a regional before. It is possible they play in a regional again. Brebeuf has more of an Indianapolis-based sectional. Danville now goes west to Greencastle, so it could be the first of 2 meetings between 2 always very good teams. Brebeuf won that game rather handily last year. This time the game is at Danville. Next door neighbors, kinda, sorta, Shenandoah and Lapel, but 2 teams that usually make a dent in 2A and 2 teams that go opposite directions in the bracket. Shenandoah is in the southern half of the bracket. Lapel's in the northern half of the bracket. This is something of a homecoming game for Dave McCullough, former head coach at Noblesville. Lapel, the next school east on State Road 32. A lot of folks in Noblesville Miller colors might be cheering on the Raiders in that contest on Friday. That should be a good one. We've talked about the Northeast Corner Conference all year long because of Prairie Heights and Westview. Central Noble's been in that mix as well. How good those teams have been. Well, Prairie Heights plays host to Westview on Friday night. Westview number 6. Prairie Heights is number 7 in 2A. And finally, in southwestern Indiana, the Bloomfield Cardinals, their season ended at the Hatchet House last year in the semi-state. They were walloped by an outstanding Bar Reef team. Well, same site, different team, same quality opponent. Bloomfield number 7 in 1A. They take on a Washington team that, again, is on the fringe of the top 10 in 3A, and that should be a great crowd at the Hatchet House. Again, it's been a really good year. We say this almost every year. It's been a great year for Southwestern Indiana basketball. 2 of the teams that have gotten it done right there. So there you go, our look at the top games around the state of Indiana. I promise I'll let Stan Bazzi talk next week because I'm sure he'll be here. Lauren, back to you.
February is Black History Month, and this week, State Champs salutes the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Although born in Tennessee, Oscar Robertson grew up in the 40s and 50s in a segregated housing project in Indianapolis. Very poor, and because his family could not afford to buy a basketball, he learned to shoot by tossing tennis balls and rags bound with rubber bands into a peach basket behind his family's home. In 1953, Robertson enrolled in the all-black high school Crispus Attucks. As a sophomore, Oscar starred on an Attucks team that lost in the semi-state finals to the team whose story would later be the basis of the 1986 movie Hoosiers. His junior season saw his team go 31-1. The 1955 state championship was the first state title for any all-black school in the nation. His senior year, the team went undefeated and another state title. Robertson averaged 24 points a game his senior year and was named Indiana's Mr. Basketball in 1956. Then, off to the University of Cincinnati. Oscar led the Bearcats to a 79-9 overall record during his 3 varsity seasons, including 2 Final Four appearances. He still holds several records, including points in a game with 62, career triple-doubles, rebounds per game, and career points. Along with Jerry West, Oscar Robertson captained the 1960 gold medal-winning Olympic team. His pro career included stints with the Cincinnati Royals and the Milwaukee Bucks. Just a few of his highlights include becoming the first player to average a triple-double for an entire season, and he did that for his first 5 pro seasons. In his final season with Milwaukee in 1973, Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar led the Bucks to an NBA World Championship. A 12-time All-Star, Oscar Robertson was named the NBA's MVP in 1964. He is an NBA and college basketball Hall of Famer and is considered by some to be the greatest player of all time. State Champs salutes the former Crispus Attucks star, the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Hey guys, make sure you send some love to Greg Rakestraw. Congratulate him for being named the Sportscaster of the Year by the Indiana Sports Writers Association. He does so much for sports all over the state and not just high school. Obviously, you've seen his work with the Colts. Congratulations, Greg, and thank you for being a part of the State Champs family. All right, that's all the time we have for this week. Please download the new State Champs app. It's available for free on Google Play and the Apple Store. If you enjoy all of our State Champs Indiana programming, and there's more coverage than just basketball, check out the State Champs Indiana Winter Roundup or our brand new Great Lakes show. You can follow, like, share, and subscribe all of the State Champs Indiana content on your favorite social media platform. We'll see you next time on Hangtime, Indiana. State Champs Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also in partnership with the Indiana High School Athletic Association.